My name is Heather Hayes, and I am the product leader for Signal Synergy. So as many of you are well aware, we are seeing a trend towards greater reliance on global contractors, whether that be CROs or CDMOs or CMOs, to execute key assays in the drug discovery process and to communicate back complex scientific results. Unfortunately, communication is often done via email or spread across multiple platforms. The data itself is often returned in these beautifully readable, human readable, but poorly structured Excel reports that are a challenge to consume. So it's very difficult to get that data back out. This leads to a highly manual and error-prone process that costs time and resources. Our customers express challenges like with the personnel turnover at CROs, administering these collaborations is a huge burden. Or we get slightly different Excel reports from every CRO. We don't have the staff to manually curate the assay results into a common format for integration into Signals. Or maybe we send back up to 25% of CRO data reports due to errors in data entry. However, the Revity Signals platform is really uniquely positioned to be the data steward and project management layer between you and your collaborators. And as a major initiative of 2023 and 2024, we are introducing a brand new product to just do that. Signal Synergy. So Signal Synergy is built right on top of the powerful Signals platform that you already know. Its purpose is really to enable easier and more efficient sponsor CRO collaborations. The goal is to address the very specific pain points that our customers experience when working with external collaborators. So what are some of those pain points? First of all, administration. Signals offers a very robust set of security features, but ensuring that security and access is granted for each new CRO and every time a user comes on or off can require many steps and cross-checks of groups, group associations, and security policy. We want to enable a more automated and simpler onboarding process that ensures that your CROs see what they need with limited administrative burden on your side and that your data is secure. Drug design. Sponsors need a place for capturing drug design. So at the very beginning, what are your designs for your smaller large molecules? A place to gather that data, prioritize the right leads from the very beginning, and track the work done on each. IP protection. When working with external collaborators, there's an added need for masking of proprietary properties. Maybe that's your material IDs or your project codes, other information that really should remain internal only, while retaining your data organization and searchability. And this can really be a challenge. Project management. There are many tools out there, from Excel to Smartsheets to any other kind of tracking tool that can be used for tracking work, but none of them are truly scientifically minded or integrated directly into your data and analytics platform. And the last thing you really need is another tool to administer to work with your CROs. Finally, the data exchange. CRO reports contain key data that's necessary for the best decision making, but all these reports arrive in different formats, often unstructured, difficult to consume, even though they might be human readable. And wrangling this data into the right format requires time and resources and often involves either copying and pasting or custom code that has to constantly be maintained to handle these report types. We want to save you those resources and reduce the time from data arrival to data use. So right now, working with CROs looks something like this. You start with a drug idea or a new pipeline, for example, and you encounter a barrier as soon as you try to bring the CRO on. You've got to set up file sharing with group permissions. There's new people coming on and off. You're having to set up security. Once you get to the project, you might be managing multiple Excel spreadsheets via email that contain your assay requests and maybe your sample IDs. You might even be exporting some PDFs of your internal experiments to pass on to the CRO. You're trying to keep up with how the work's going, constantly having to email the CRO. When data finally comes back in the form of a report, it might be sent over, but you have to send it back for error because there's a bunch of copying and pasting from their systems into your reports. And even when the final report finally arrives, there's another barrier. Someone's got to wrangle that data. Someone's got to take it from the format of the report into a usable format, such that when you finally see the data and you have to iterate on the drug design, you've already lost so much time. So we want to take you from this to a more streamlined path, designed specifically with the needs and challenges of sponsor CRO collaborations in mind. When you have an idea, we want you to be able to onboard that CRO who might have that synthesis expertise or might be able to help you streamline your manufacturing. We want you to be able to start that collaboration, request, track, prioritize work without ever leaving the suite. We want the CRO to have what they need and be able to easily plan their work to make and test, capture their experimental details right where they are, and for you to be able to readily consume that data as soon as it's available so that you can go through these cycles of iteration until you have that best drug that's ready to go to market faster than you have before. So now let's walk through what the solution might look like inside of Synergy. As mentioned, one of the biggest challenges that sponsors face is administering multiple collaborations with multiple CROs, each requiring its own security setup and user management. And the high turnover of CRO scientists only further compounds the problem. To reduce this administrative burden, Synergy has a CRO database built in for easy CRO onboarding and offboarding. CROs can be set up and ready to collaborate with a click of a button without tying up valuable seat licenses. Each CRO has its own CRO administrator who can help you manage their users and organize them into departments or groups that can be used for performing specific work, all while the sponsor retains oversight and security decisions around what the CRO can see. We want to take you from saying, with the personnel turnover at CROs and the many CROs that we work with on and off, administering these projects is a huge burden, to Synergy makes it easy to initiate new collaborations with our favorite CROs. The CRO admin helps me manage their users, and they know exactly who's responsible for what work, and I don't have to account for each seat. Instead, I can focus on the project. After setting up a CRO in Synergy, the sponsor can then initiate a collaboration with the CRO. A collaboration, the purpose of it is really to create a dedicated, secured slice of your tenant, specifically for that CRO, in which they can exchange work, see the experimental records, and data reports for a specific drug discovery project. A collaboration is assigned, first of all, to one or more internal user groups who will manage the CRO work. They will retain full control over the work and see the experiments. A collaboration is then also assigned to a very specific CRO with either some or all of the CRO departments. You may have a collaboration where you want to collaborate with multiple departments or groups in a CRO, or some that are more secure and more private, and you just need one group from within the CRO to work with you. Importantly, our customers rely on attributes or fields in the notebook now to organize, secure, and search for their work. However, some of these fields and attributes may be proprietary. Maybe there's the new Alzheimer's disease target that you don't necessarily want everyone to know about. Or maybe your project codes are top secret. Whatever it may be, customers may want to hide some of these fields from the CRO while retaining the ability to search and organize their data based on the fields. So we've added the new concept of internal fields. Sponsors will be able to mark some of these fields as internal only and hidden from their CRO on their collaborations or even on other Synergy entities. And these fields are hidden from the CRO. On the sponsor side, they work as they always have. They're visible and searchable by the sponsor. So with Synergy, you can organize and search for both your internal and external work using the same attributes without revealing proprietary project codes or disease targets to your CRO. You can really share as much or as little as you need. So where does a collaboration begin? It often begins with an idea. And an idea is a new entity in Synergy, and each idea represents a hypothesis about how to make or improve a drug. Sponsors can gather background information such as patent searches or other information from other projects, and then they can propose new drug designs for their small molecule compound or their larger biologic. These designs are like sketches on the back of a napkin of the structures or sequences that they think might be successful. Designs are really distinct from registered materials. They are not yet made. They may not have an amount or batches or appearance. So there's really no need to clutter up your registry. In fact, some designs may be successfully synthesized and progressed to a valid lead, while others may never be successfully synthesized at all. For each design, you can bring in predictions about the structures or sequences through external actions with maybe computational tools or in silico modeling. And as you gather that data, the next thing you can do is begin to prioritize these designs. Okay, based on their molecular weight, based on their size, based on other properties that I've predicted, I think these are the best leads to go after first. So you can prioritize these leads. You'll also notice that the work is also tracked on a design level. So what does an idea do for you? We know that you need a place to capture ideas and track the progress of your proposed leads. And Synergy takes us from a make, test, decide platform to a design, make, test, decide platform, all inside the suite, where you can track the work being done on each lead and then decide which leads progress. So once your designs are prioritized, you can select a set of them and send them out to a work order to a CRO. You'll notice that all the work orders are tracked here at the design level, so it's easy to see which assays have been run. Have we synthesized this before? Have we run a high throughput screening against this particular protein, for example? All the work orders are tracked here on a design level. So when you're ready to send out a work order, you can pass these designs on to your CRO for synthesis or screening. You can also pass your other registered materials or samples to them. So what is a work order? Work orders are a secure way to share information with the CRO. They are prioritizable. They can be group assigned to a CRO department so that they can organize their resources and decide who's going to do the work. Work orders offer an expanded set of statuses to keep both the sponsor and the CRO up to date on the progress of the work, all within the platform, with no need for extra communication in email or other tracking tools. Work orders can contain documents, chemical drawings, tables, or information from your own internal experiments, anything that your CRO might need to complete the work, but nothing they don't need. Each work order is importantly fulfilled by a sponsor-defined, templated Synergy experiment to ensure the details of the experiment are properly captured and traceable. So when a design or a registered material or a sample or a batch needs to be shared to a work order, the sponsor selects which properties they want to share. So in other words, they don't have to share the entire entity. For example, for a synthesis of a design, you may need to share the instructions, such as the chemical structure or monomer sequence for that drug design, so that in order for the CRO to synthesize it. But if you're passing samples for screening, you may want the screener to be blinded with only a simple ID and some basic hazard information. That's what reference tables allow you to do. They allow the sponsor to choose which properties need to be shared with the CRO. So what does that look like? Well, when you first come in here, you can pick a particular material library, and then you can pick whether you're going to be sharing designs, material assets, or batches and lots with the CRO. And then you will see a list of available properties. You'll note that there are some properties that are marked as sensitive, meaning that they actually require a privilege in order to share to the CRO. You can select a certain set of properties that you want to share with the CRO, and those selected properties and only those selected properties are then included in the reference table. So in other words, the CRO doesn't need to see that 3 months ago there was another batch of this material asset made by another CRO, for example. Maybe they don't need to know all the properties that you've predicted with your own in silico tools, for example. Once your materials or your designs are set into reference tables inside the work order, you'll see that the sponsor sees two things. They see the regular material or material batch ID, but they also see an external ID. This is a way for you to alias or mask your material IDs. We understand that material IDs can be proprietary. They're often used in patents or publications or submissions. So in Synergy, we provide this external ID as a way for you and your external collaborators to communicate about a particular sample or design or material. And the sponsor sees both side by side. They can easily link out and see everything that they need to know about that material. However, the CRO sees only the EXID. No unhiding of columns or linking out to other information, only what they need to complete their work. So as a sponsor project manager, Synergy allows you to protect your material IDs and choose when to share the compound structure or protein sequence. You can share as much or as little as you need based on the specifics of the work. And as a CRO scientist, you have everything that you need right there in the work order. No need to go searching through email or looking at other things. Everything's right there in the work order, ready for you to complete the task that you need, ready for the CRO scientist to deliver their expertise onto the project. Work orders also come with user-friendly project management tools like a Kanban style work queue. You'll note that each work order has a different color that identifies the work type. Work types can be used to identify the assay or service type and used to color code the card. So you can very easily see which work is related to synthesis, maybe which work is related to assay development or ADME or PK. So it's easy for you to see what work or assays have been queued up for a given lead or for a given project, which ones are in progress, maybe which ones need your attention or your review. You'll note that a sponsor user sees all their work and they can organize their work based on the status, but they can also organize it based on due date. So it's easy to identify the ones that are overdue, the ones that are due very soon, or the ones that are way down the road. For the CRO, they see a limited set. The managers of their department see all the work that's flowing through their department so that they can manage their own resources and their own users, whereas a CRO user only sees those that are directly assigned to them. So as a CRO scientist, Synergy makes it easy for those scientists to know what work is coming, what experimental details the client want in return. And what's nice is that as they start the experiment, as they deliver those reports into the experiment, their clients are automatically updated. The sponsor clients are automatically updated on their progress, and they can easily communicate back and forth all within the system. So after establishing the work orders, what does it look like to actually execute experiments? So a CRO can go in and see their work order. They can see all the references that have been shared with them, and they can click directly into the experiment that they're using. Inside the experiment, they can do all the things that they normally do. They can write out their chemical reactions. They can produce products and samples. Once they have their samples, they can use this reference column to tell their sponsor what each sample represents. So when they click that magnifying glass, it's actually searching the reference tables that are in the related work order. So for example, the designs that have been passed for them, they can say, yes, this sample is of this design. Once the experiment is submitted back to the sponsor can see the samples and what was requested in that relationship and register the material. They can enter the information or pull that directly in from the table. And once the material is registered, typically the registration, the material ID or the compound batch ID is written back to that table right inside that CRO's user's experiment. But here's the difference in Synergy. Yes, that material ID for the sponsor is there and they can see all the information and link out to everything about that material, including other batches that have been made. But the CRO user sees only that external ID, only that alias ID. So it's a way for you to communicate. You can register from straight inside the CRO's user's experiment, but you can also protect your proprietary material ID. So once the work is completed, we all know the data can be a major challenge. So reports from the CRO are often these multi-tabular reports in Excel. So when you open that report that they've uploaded into that experiment, you might see things like details about the materials or assay conditions that were used, maybe metadata on the first sheet. You click to the next sheet and you may see the plate layout. So oftentimes these plate layouts might have clever human patterns like merged or nested cells that are easy to read but very difficult to parse. And then finally, you may need to relate these multiple tabs of metadata and layout information to the raw data itself that's on a separate tab. The raw data might have little indicators like an asterisk for an outlier, or maybe indications for samples that were below the level of quantification. So how do we get this data out? We can see what the CRO did, but how do we get this data out? We want to capture both the raw data and the analyzed data, your key endpoints out of this. And this is really a challenge, and a lot of resources are spent on this. So what the Synergy Data Exchange, which is part of the Synergy offering, does is it handles this problem for you. You really need the structured columnar data here on the right that is computer consumable. Well, the Synergy Data Exchange is driven by a library of CRO data report templates, each representing the format of a report for a particular CRO assay combination. These templates are the reports that we typically see coming back from these CRO assay combinations, but each template is stored with a set of pre-configured parsing instructions for automatically converting the human readable unstructured data in these Excel-based reports into computer consumable structured data tables. So once that report is uploaded, the data exchange engine automatically runs, extracts the data into these columnar data tables that are then ready and easily published to Signal Synergy or to other data lakes. So it takes the data from that human readable format into a computer consumable format that can automatically be used for your downstream analytics and decisioning. So let's look at what this looks like. So when the CRO logs in, they would see this new data exchange concept within their experiment. They can click on this and understand the report that you've agreed upon. So they can look at, for example, the template to understand, yes, this is how I usually report my data. This is the cover sheet I always send back. Here's my summary tables, my curve fitting details. Yes, they want the IC50 and the slope, for example. And here's how the raw data is typically returned. This should look very familiar. It's the reports that they always send back from this particular CRO and this particular assay. So the CRO user can then drag in their Excel report. It's uploaded into the data exchange and sent straight to the engine. This will check that the data is of the right type, and this is indeed parsable, so they can find all the data tables that are expected and find the details. When you go over to the sponsor side, you not only see the validation status, but you also see the transform data. So you saw the raw well-level details, as well as the key endpoints into a summary table. These tables are ready to download into CSV or ready to publish directly into Inventa. They also have the full original human readable report all there in one element inside the experiment that's been created by the CRO user. So once you have these structured columnar data tables of your raw data and your key endpoints, these can be directly published into Signal's Data Factory for your downstream analytics and decisioning in Inventa, pulling together all of your internal assay data as well as your external assay data into one place for SAR analysis and candidate selection, all inside of Inventa without ever leaving the suite, without needing to bring on additional resources to wrangle these reports, to write custom code or do copying and pasting. The Synergy Data Exchange handles it for you. So the Signal Synergy addition to the suite really empowers the suite for design, make, test, decide, and collaborate. Synergy will be built right on top of the powerful Signals platform for easier administration of CROs and collaborations. The CROs can then deliver their experimental data. There's IP protection without many complicated security steps. There's simplified and integrated project management where you can see what work is in progress, what work is queued up, what work needs your response or your review, your registration. And there's a rationalized process for that data exchange to gather that complex data without the need for manual copying and pasting or wasted time and resources. So with Synergy, we're looking forward to delivering less oversight and more insight, and Synergy is coming to Signals in 2024.